Hey guys, so today we're gonna try out how can we exploit the sudo to privilege escalate to another user or read anything else as another user. So normally when we get our initial foothold, we will check out the sudo -l command, see what are the things we can execute without credentials or with credentials. So over here, these are all the commands that I can execute as a root user without any credentials provided. So to try out the first one, user as being iftop, the iftop command. Use sudo, paste it over here, the command, and this is the graphical user interface that we got. So press escape, and it shows that press question mark for help. We check out the help, we try enumerate over here, and it shows that there's an exclamation mark that we can execute the shell command. As we know that when we execute things over here like this command iftop, right, we will execute as a root user. So now temporarily our privileges has been escalated to root for temporarily. So in our case, how can we escape from this one to get a shell? So as we know that if we execute a command, right, we will execute as a root user. So if we execute the bash shell, it means that we execute the bash shell as a root user, so we'll get a root shell, right? So we try out, we put a set exclamation mark, we put bin bash, and voila, now we are in root right now. So we just escalate to root user. So we go back to here, press Q to escape it. Now we go to another command, the find command. We check out the manual page for find. Go down, see what are things that we can do. Executable. Okay, we try to enumerate over here, see what are things that we can do. Okay, so we just found a command under the actions, the exec flag. So with this one we can execute command. Okay, so we go back to here, paste this one, put a dot over here, then execute bin bash, escape the the semicolon, then quit. And now we are root. Now we go to another command, nano command. Now sudo nano. Okay, so now as we know that when we execute the nano as a root, right now we are root right now, temporarily as a root. So we can use it to read anything else as a root user too. So over here we control R, we can put a file that we want to read. Like let's make an example, etc schedule, only the root user can read it. So over here it shows that we can read the credentials in there too. Okay, if we want to escape from nano to a shell, how can we do that? We press Ctrl R, Ctrl X, and these are commands to execute part. So we reset it first, reset the terminal, and then we put sh like this, and voila. Now we just got a sh shell as a root user. ID, now we are root. Okay, now we escape using Ctrl D, Ctrl X, no. Okay, so now we try out another command, the vim command, sudo vim. Okay, so this is a vim, we press escape, we press the colon, and then we put a exclamation mark to execute command. We execute the bin bash command, and now we are root. We go back to there, escape, colon, Q, exclamation to quit it. Okay, now we try out another command, the manual command, sudo manual. Okay, now we need to put what are the manual page that we want to show. Let's make an example to put ID. Okay, so this manual page, right, has been executed as a root user. How can we escape from it? We just put exclamation mark, bin bash, and now we are root. Go back to there, quit it. Okay, so now we go to another one, the awk command. So awk, sudo awk, here we can execute, we can execute this one as system bin bash. ID, yeah. Now we are root. That's how we abuse the awk command to execute a system command. So now we are root. We go back to here. Okay. So now we go to another command, the last command. Okay. Sudo last. So we try out the myvpn.ovpn. Okay, as we can see that here, this one that it shows something like the manual page, right? We also can use the same thing. Bin bash, put exclamation mark, bin bash, and we escape it as a root right now. So now we are root user again. Okay, so quick. Now we go to sudo -l again. We check out the ftp command we can execute as a root user. So we execute this one, and we are in the ftp right now, the ftp shell. So we put question mark, and these are all the things that we can execute, all the commands. So it seems that this one is to execute the system command. Try it out to execute the bin bash again, and now we are root again. Escape from it. Now we try out the nmap. Nmap, this one is an interesting command over here. Normally we use nmap to perform port scanning, those, right? But imagine we can use this one to get a root shell to privilege escalate to a root user. So this is the interesting part here. Okay, so in one of the version of nmap, there's a privilege or something in the command over here. Yeah, the privilege command. No, not the privilege command. Check out the gtfo bin. We go to nmap. Yeah, there's one thing over here, the interactive flag. But this one has been removed already. So in our case over here, we don't have the interactive flag over here. But how can we execute the nmap command as a root user but without using the interactive flag over here? Because in our case, this nmap version doesn't have the interactive flag. But how can we abuse this one to get the root shell? So as we know that, where is the command here? Okay, there's a script command over here actually. We need to find where's the script command first. Yeah, this is a script command. So the script command over here, right? When we want to execute something else, we will we want to check out the vulnerable something like this, a vulnerable script. We use a vulnerable script. So we just put the script flag, then we place the Lua script over here. So we know that the nmap command will execute the Lua script, right? If we create our own Lua script to execute the OS command, the shell command. So it means that when we execute it as a root user, and we will execute the shell command as a root user too. It means that we will escape it as a root user. So we try to create our Lua script. We put it as lpe.lua. Okay, so os.execute bin bash escape right and quick chmod +x lpe. Okay, so now over here there's a Lua script that I've created to execute the shell command of bin bash. So we try using, we check out the sudo -l page again. Okay, so user bin nmap. So sudo this one. Okay, script flag. We want to place a script that we want to execute to do the scanning, but in our case we are not doing the scanning, but we want to use it to get our root shell. Okay, so we put our lpe.lua. Okay, as you can see that, look, warning, lpe lua, the recommended file extension is NSE. We know that, but the thing is that we got a root shell. It executes the Lua script, and inside the Lua script, that it will execute our os.execute command to perform privilege escalation. As we know that normally we want to do some port scanning like using like nmap ss, this command, right? Okay, and the quick nmap ss. We need to have higher privilege, which is a root privilege to execute, right? So in some of the cases, some of them, they are just quite lazy to do it only. So they just place it inside the sudo here without placing the password. So because they don't want to enter the password all the time, right? So in this case, actually this is quite vulnerable actually. We can abuse this one to execute the Lua script that it will execute the OS command. So we can use this one to escape it as a root. So the threat actor can actually just abuse this case to privilege escalate to root user. Actually, it's not an intended path actually, but unintended. So it's quite vulnerable. So it's better to just manually enter the credentials actually. So we try to check out another thing again, which is the Apache 2. Apache 2, we can't escape it to get a shell actually. So it's not a good idea to do it. But we can read it, the first line of the thing, the first line of the files. Like, okay, cat etc shadow. We don't have the permission to check it, right? But we know that the first line, it might be the root credentials, right? Okay, so we try to check out Apache, like we try to place like our my OVPN. We need to put a F flag. Okay, could not open a configuration file of this one. Okay, we need to put this one. Okay. This one is a dinosaur block. Never mind. We put our full path. Home user. Okay. Syntax error on line 1. Incorrect invalid command client. What is client actually? So we check out. We hit the my VPN again. And at the first line of my VPN.ovpn file, actually it's client. So it means that over here, it will execute, it will read the thing inside the file. So we know that we can execute the Apache 2 this command as a root user, right? It means that if it shows that invalid command, right, it will trigger and read the first line. The first line will be the content inside the file. So as you know that the etc shadow, the first line will be the root credentials, right? So we can use sudo apache, put the F flag to specify the file, etc shadow, and voila, it seems like we just got the root credentials, invalid command, and here's the root credentials. So we just indirectly read the etc shadow file's content and get our root credentials. So we can just copy this one, go to our join the reaper to crack it, to crack the hash. Okay, so we check out the last command over here, which is the bin more. Okay, so more, this one is a little bit tricky. So let's make an example. Bin more. Okay, sudo bin more my vpn.ovpn. As we know that when we want to execute a shell command, we need to put this one, right, the exclamation mark. But in that case, you need to have a thing over here that shows that, how's it? Okay, let's make an example. This client over here, it will show something like this in the content. But this content, it won't show because the content is quite long. So we need to press enter to go to another line. So in this case, but how can we do that? In our terminal, this screen is quite big actually. So what we can do is we just shrink our terminal, put it smaller, and press, and it shows that more. So we need to press enter to view more lines. So in this case, we just put exclamation mark in bash, and we got our root shell again. Quick. So that's basically how can we abuse the sudo to get our root shell or read something else as a root user. So that's all for my videos. Thanks guys. Bye bye.